Here we are, folks. I did not see that coming from the Cleveland Browns this weekend. They get Jerry Jeudy, the apple of their eye last offseason. He is now here. Another move from Andrew Berry. A 5 and a 6 for Jerry Jeudy to come in here, potentially change the look of this offense. Tampering period starts at noon. We got maybe more moves coming from the Cleveland Browns, restructures. We got our eye on that. Russell Wilson's going to Pittsburgh. Baker's signed on up. We got to talk some Cavs this morning. We got a very important Immaculate Grid to get to. Morning update. We got time up. And a very special guest with us this morning as a bit of a throwback show. We kick off your Monday and the legal tampering day right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Michael Boom. Boom. Hey.
Hey.
Dude, this is the throwback of all throwbacks. If you followed Boom's career or mine, was that a good 2-year run we had over there at the other spot? A little ECT action?
I
Boom.
would say so.
Dude, I'm happy to have you here this morning. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I was glad for the opportunity. I was really excited for the chance to work with you again. Reunited.
It's reunited and on a day.
Very special day.
Very special day. Happy 311 day to all!
Feels fitting, doesn't it?
Good. That's right. Bohm and I used to always have fun with the music. He and I have very similar musical tastes, so it's funny that you're on 311 day. I already got the text. Are you starting with a happy 311 day? You're damn right I'm starting with a happy 311. Bohm, did you know that on our bracket, they voted 311 as the most overrated band over the Beatles, over Beyonce, and over other bands?
Troll job.
Troll job, spite job.
Yeah.
So I sent it out this morning that they are actually an award-winning band. That's an award. It's not a good award, but they are an award-winning band on 311 day. So I hope everybody out there, after our show, of course, cranks a little 311 this morning. You need something, you tell me what your musical tastes are, and I've got a song for you. It's what I love about 311. They have hard rock stuff. They got reggae stuff. Not reggae. I love Michael Reggae. Reggae stuff. They got it all for you. Bohm, I know, knows 311 better than the average person. So a happy 311 day, and what a happy day for the Cleveland Browns. Dude, they bring Jerry Jeudy in, and this move, it reeks of Amari Cooper, right? You make a trade for a guy for a 5. Now, like Amari, eventually Jerry Jeudy might have to get paid. And it's something where the Browns obviously are persistent. But the biggest thing, and there's a lot that I want to get into with Jerry Jeudy. There's questions I want to ask this morning. If this was the only starting caliber player the Browns got this offseason, would that be enough for you? Imagine that they go through the rest of free agency, trades, whatever, and this was the only true starting level caliber player that the Browns got. Would that be enough for you? I want to discuss that a little bit later. But the thing about Andrew Berry, what kind of like resonated with me at the beginning is, again, former people on our show, Nick Paulus and I had this debate about a year ago, Bohm, where at that point, we were talking about giving up a second-round pick. And remember they wanted Wyatt Teller? Remember that they wanted Wyatt Teller and a draft pick for Jerry Jeudy. And we gave Andrew Berry credit for not making that move because the price was too high. And you wait just a calendar year later, and it's a 5 and a 6. A 5 and a 6 to pick up Jeudy. So that was my first thing. I go, you know what? I give Andrew Berry for not caving to the pressure on that, because it would have been easy to make a move for the sake of making a move and making the splash. He waits a year, and now you have even a bigger splash with Jeudy coming to the Cleveland Browns. Am I putting too much on it with Jerry Jeudy? I don't know. Because on an instant move, there's a little negative part that you're like, wait a minute, is Jerry Jeudy exactly what we think he is? And the thing is, it's a 5 and a 6. I don't care. You brought in a guy that I know instantly becomes the second best wide receiver on this team. That's not meant to be a shot at anybody else, but you got a bona fide 2 for a 5 and a 6. Yeah, this is the last year of his deal. And I sent the tweet yesterday, too. I think he instantly becomes an extension candidate. You want to see how the season plays out. You don't want to bring him in here, and if it doesn't work with Watson or if it doesn't work in this offense, then you're out of 5 and a 6 and you move on. I don't think that's the case, and I'd like to stay away from that franchise tag money for a wide receiver, which is absolutely insane. But I would think you play this season out, and if Jerry Jeudy ascends to what you believe he might be, potentially your heir apparent for Amari Cooper. That money gets freed up. You can instantly sign him to an extension anytime during the season, too. Say, play this out, and here's a 3-year deal to tack on beyond that. I know wide receivers are getting paid. And that's the other thing. I'm not sitting here telling you Jerry Jeudy's on the level of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and a lot of J's all around here, but he's not to that level. I understand that. But I also see the money that these guys are going to be getting. And that's a trade, bad pun, I apologize, that I will make any day of the week, where here's a next tier guy down that I can pay on the next tier down. I'm not saying that if Justin Jefferson walked through this door today and said, I want $32 million a year, I'll come play for the Cleveland Browns, I'd probably make that deal. But anyway, the world that we live in, I'm fine with that next tier down. And I'm fine because then you have the freedom to be able to sign him to a decent deal, and you kind of see where it goes. The other thing I was thinking about, Bone, was Deshaun Watson, who already sent, a tweet about it or a social media post about it yesterday. He seems excited. Good. This is another example of doing everything that the Browns can to make sure Watson is in position to succeed. We've had the discussion on Flacco. I want to get your thoughts on that, Bohm. I haven't talked to you about that. But with this year, with it being geared up, this year's everything about figuring out Deshaun Watson. Is he the right guy? Well, now you've given him yet another weapon. And I just think, Bohm, it eliminates all these excuses about, all right, he didn't have this piece or this offense or that. I will look at none of that. When this season starts, when they kick off this season and as they play it out, I'm not going to listen to any excuses. I'm not going, well, the offense isn't flowing or there's really not these right play calls or these players. I'm not going to have that because this season I have to figure out an answer on Deshaun Watson. They bring in a guy like Jerry Jeudy. That's another thing of, dude, you had Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, David Njoku. There's no excuses now with your playmakers. And when I look at it and say, you got to figure it out about Watson, now maybe there's this future with Jerry Jeudy. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think when you consider how this roster's starting to shake out, that wide receiver room, it feels good. It feels complete.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest question remaining is maybe the offensive line, where you have a lot of guys returning from injury. Not sure what they're going to do with Jack Conklin. Obviously, we saw the money that they decided to do with Jedrick Wills.
Mm-hmm.
But that, to me, is still the biggest unanswered question heading into this season, where it's one less excuse for Deshaun now that you feel like that receiver room is shored up. Elijah Moore, it was interesting. When the season started out, it felt like Moore was getting open, separating consistently, and Watson just wasn't able to find him. So I agree with you in the regard of he is running out of excuses, but that offensive line, I have my questions about that I need to see answered.
I would, and that's the thing. It is injury. It's not necessarily a play, and I know people don't think Jed Wills is all that. With Jed Wills, I always maintain you could do a lot worse. And some Browns fans didn't want to hear that. And I said, no, you could actually find much worse left tackles. They know he's going to be here. I think that all but assures he is your starting left tackle, because there was that question of, do you slide DeJuan Jones over? I think Jack Conklin is a very interesting piece. I think he is one that, as this legal tampering period starts, you're going to start seeing the trades ramping up. You're going to start seeing teams start to make more calls and trying to figure things out before free agency starts. And there are going to be some offensive linemen out there. But some of the things that I've read, Bohm, is this is going to be a short class on corners and offensive linemen. You could make the case you have a surplus at both. Now, I don't mean to keep continuing trying to trade away Greg Newsome. I don't mean to keep trying to bring that up. But he is a name that seems to make a lot of sense. You have two starting level corners. You've got Cam Mitchell, who you drafted. If you were to pick up another corner in the draft, I think then Greg Newsome potentially becomes available. And you could pick up another. And again, it's not trading him just to trade him, but if you get the right deal, it just makes a lot of sense. And again, I like Greg. I think he's played well for us. He's lived up to a first-round billing, all of that. But you got the fifth-year option. You got to figure out that, too, if you want to pick that up, because that's the other thing. If you want to trade him, you want to give that team that potential. And you don't have to make that until May, if I'm not mistaken, I think, when you make the fifth-year option decision. So you got time on that. So the fact that the Browns had their lid lifter of it being Jerry Jeudy, which was big, The question is, Bohm, do you expect it to continue to be big, or do you think that this was the big splash and now it's just kind of depth and some other guys here as we play it out?
Well, real quick, you brought up something that I think was very important. The fact that you look at Jeudy, the Browns acquired him going into his 5th-year deal, right? So I think that lessened the value significantly. That's how you're able to come away with him for just a 5th and 6th. Greg Newsome, and you talked about it, if you want to maximize his value, this is the year to get it.
Right.
Because if he only has 1 year left, it's an expiring deal, going to have to be extended. He's going to be acquired for a far less cost.
Yeah.
So that could be pivotal in terms of like when the Browns decide to trade him and whether they do.
And real quick on that, it made me think of this. Jeudy is now set a bar, right? Like as you look at some of these other, and there's not a lot of these receivers that are in the same position as him, but that is a value that other teams will look at. Okay, that's what you got. From some people, it sounds like they fleeced Sean Payton for this. And where the Broncos are at, we'll talk about Russell Wilson coming up in a bit, but I feel like you got a deal here. I feel like you really did. But they are tearing it down in Denver. That's how I kind of see that going right
Jeudy
now.
was kind of on the outs last season. I remember seeing reports.
Well, Mark Schlereth is all happy. He's like, oh, he's out of here. Good, get him out of here. And the team that trades him away, they're probably saying that in Denver, that he didn't live up to it. You know, I sent a tweet that Mac Jones got overdrafted because he went to Alabama, because obviously he got traded away too. And people say, well, so did Jerry Jeudy. He got overdrafted. I'm like, I don't know. Jerry Jeudy was pretty damn good at Alabama.
I loved Jeudy coming out.
Coming out, he was good. Coming out, he was really good. And he's not lived up to it in Denver. Can I not just point to the quarterback play? And if that's a Wilson thing, if that's a Sean Payton thing.
Might have had something to do with it.
I don't know. Probably. My biggest thing is what he can do here. What can he do here? And I think about the shift that you're going to have with this offense. It's a passing league. And we love Nick Chubb. Didn't want to see the knee injury happen. Kind of waiting to see. All right, quick on Nick Chubb. I think they want to see what some of these other guys sign for. What Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler and what happens with Barkley, what happens with Derrick Henry. Kind of the deals, because they're all free agents. So they're going to sign deals. I think the Browns, and maybe even Nick Chubb, want to wait to see what some of those deals are. Because the game that's being played there is the Browns assume these guys aren't going to get very much money. They'll get maybe 10 to 12. So that gives the Browns power to go back to Nick Chubb and say, all right, some of these other elite running backs, they're getting 10 to 12. We're going to give you 8 with incentives to get back up. We know he's not going to be carried on that $15, almost $16 million cap hit this year. So I think there's a game to be played there to see what they signed Nick Chubb for. But back to the Browns offense. You got to go passing. This is a passing league. You put all your eggs in that basket of Deshaun Watson. This is a move that yet further signifies that. If they walked out there, and they're going to, game one, you have 2 wide receivers, Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. You've got, I'm going to say, a borderline elite tight end in David Njoku. And you got Deshaun Watson. I'm good. Yeah, I want Nick Chubb back. I think Jerome Ford's going to do fine. They'll probably pick up a running back somewhere else. To your point, Bohm, what they do on the offensive line, yeah, we'll figure that out. But if you got really those 4 guys, Jeudy, Cooper, Watson, and David Njoku, that's a good start. That is a good start. Now, what's the key to all of that? Deshaun Watson. And the debate that we've had over and over again about what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. But it comes, if you start with that, you're ahead of a lot of teams in this league. You got to call the right plays. You got to get in the right system, all that kind of stuff. But the Jerry Jeudy trade, is that something that is masking the real issues with Andrew Berry? Because a hot topic, Bohm, has been that he's not drafted wide receivers well. He's not found a lot of good wide receivers, which again is like, not revisionist history here, but I'm just saying. You had to trade a 2 for Elijah Moore. And I know he had more contract to work with here, but you got a 5 and a 6 for Jerry Jeudy. I mean, those things are kind of like, I think those should be flipped. There was a time where I would have given a 2 up for Jerry Jeudy and a 5 and a 6 for Elijah Moore. Whatever. They're here. Same package, I guess you want to look at it that way. But it's been this thing about Andrew Berry. He's not been able to find guys. I think the one side of it is to be said, he's drafting in the 3rd round. He's drafting in the 4th and 5th rounds for wide receivers. They're not, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? But that has been, frankly, the sore spot. He has found defensive backs. Andrew Berry's a former DB. Maybe that plays something into it. I don't know. I think he's made the right trades and right moves for the offensive line in ways. He's found pieces, but boom, it seems to be that receiver position isn't it. So if you want to accept that and you just say, yep, that's kind of my deficiency. Well, all right, then go make these trades. Go use somebody else. Get a guy that you know has been in the NFL that can play. It's going to cost you a little bit differently on money and draft picks. But if you got to make your way trading for receivers instead of drafting for them, as long as they're here, I don't really care.
Now, you could even apply that to just pass catchers in general. Obviously, the Browns had Njoku before Andrew Berry came in. But outside of that, you bring in Harrison Bryant, who's had his moments, even at quarterback. And you bring in
who's going to sneak it? Who's going to sneak it if he's not here anymore?
Yeah, I know, right? I am curious to see what new wrinkles Stefanski will have in that offense. But you do raise an interesting point in terms of how good is Andrew Berry and company in terms of evaluating those pass catchers. And the jury's still out on guys like Tillman. Obviously, you missed on Anthony Schwartz pretty badly. That was crash and burn.
Yeah.
I guess every GM has their kryptonite. Maybe it is the receiver position for Andrew Berry. But it feels like he's been able to manage it as best he could. Elijah Moore, maybe not the greatest evaluation. I don't know how much of that is on Moore. There were moments, perhaps, but you would have loved to see more from him. Jeudy feels like a great acquisition.
Doesn't it?
And Amari, some might even argue that he's not a top 10 receiver, but he had some elite performances last season. He is a more than sufficient wide receiver one. I mean, the man gets the job done, and now with Jeudy in the fold, you would think that is going to only open up the opportunities for Amari. Plus, I love the fact, Matt, that Jerry Jeudy was a guy who basically went to Alabama because of Amari Cooper. He looked up to him. They're both out of the same area.
Yep.
You already got that chemistry on in the fold.
And maybe unlock a little. So I'm not saying Cortland Sutton didn't help him in Denver, but you're right, dude. I know Stefanski and Ken Dorsey went out to go see Deshaun Watson. Can we get Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy together? We need these guys together tomorrow to start going through some things. And you're right, potentially unlock something new there, the excitement. And that I do think plays a factor. I'm really projecting a little bit now, but Jeudy himself, after this season, Jeudy and Amari, if everything stands pat, Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper are free agents next year. Is there a world that, again, please God, they go on a playoff run, these guys are studs, and they say, we want to keep this together. Now, it's going to cost you money. I get that. But that is a dream scenario, would it not be, to see those guys ascend together? At the very least, Jeudy maybe even wanting to stay here or showing that he can fit into this offense and be it. But they also made this move because they assume he's going to be the heir apparent to Amari Cooper. And that's a gamble. But again, a 5 and a 6? A 5 and a 6 is a gamble I will take any day of the week. The sad news is I now will not get Calvin Ridley. Okay, that's done. We had all these discussions about some of the top-level guys that had come through. But the more attainable group of maybe the Gabe Davises of the world and things like that, I would imagine this move signifies they're done. They'll pick up a wide receiver in the draft, but that's it for any of the rest of the guys. I wanted Calvin Ridley bad. He was going to get paid. I think once the Browns understood that, let's go make this move, bring in a guy like Jerry Jeudy. He's here now. The other moves that are going to start happening around the league now, today's going to be a fun day. The tampering starts at noon. We've already got deals coming out across the league. Guys either re-sign or they get the announcement that they're going to be released and gone. The big news yesterday was Russell Wilson. He is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers on just a $1.2 million deal because he's getting $38 million from the Broncos this year. He doesn't need the money. The question is, and Bohm, Ryan and I debated this last week. I want to get your fresh take on this. Are you worried that he's in Pittsburgh now?
Honestly, I was more worried about them acquiring Justin Fields.
I was too. Same thing.
Yeah.
We got to talk Justin Fields coming up in a second. We got to get to that. But Russ in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I actually he kind of had a resurgence at the tail end, when he was told he was going to be benched. Which, by the way, what a messed up situation that was in Denver.
Sean Payton, man, I know they went all in with him, and maybe this has just got to be the tear it down. It's going to be awkward. It's going to suck for a little bit, but you're putting all that on Sean Payton, man. Best of luck. Have fun with J.J. McCarthy.
I thought Russ was cooked, but now I think he's on a revenge tour.
I don't know,
Pittsburgh,
man.
Are they going to let him cook? I think he will be an above-average quarterback, and that's what you'll get. He's got some good receivers to throw to.
He does.
Talented running backs to hand off to. That offensive line, even more so than the Browns maybe, have a lot of questions. Defense will be solid. So, this Steelers team is never a joke. Mike Tomlin obviously continues to surpass expectations. I don't know how the hell he finished with the record he did last season above 500. But with Russ at quarterback, I think that only makes them better considering what they had to work with last year.
I said that's exactly my point. Ryan is throwing this all aside. He's like, I don't even care. He goes, I don't care that he goes here. I'm more on your side of things. They got better. Now, Kenny Pickett's not good. And Reed Flock this morning is just sending every tiny hand tweet that he can about Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett, there's an upgrade there. And I don't want them upgrading at any position because I already think it's going to be a tough one. And Dave, Big Play Dave, he sent this out. If you were to rank the AFC North quarterbacks, I think Lamar is very clearly number 1. I think Joe Burrow is very clearly number 2. Then we're talking Watson versus Russell Wilson. And if I really did take the Cleveland out of it, it is Russell Wilson 3 and then Deshaun Watson 4. It just has to be that way.
Now, if you're looking at it from the perspective of ceiling, maximizing their potential. I think Deshaun certainly, I would take him at 3 over 4, but certainly even possible that,
he should be in the mix. Here's the thing. He should be in the mix with the rest of those guys. He's supposed to be.
If you're getting the Deshaun that we saw before the injury against Baltimore, leading him to that comeback, that's elite caliber quarterback play, some of the best that you could possibly ask for. It's just a question of, is he going to be able to sustain that? Is he going to be rusty coming back from injury? You referenced Joe Flacco earlier in the show. Is that some sort of added pressure that could, as soon as he throws a pick, if you have Joe Flacco at that backup quarterback position, then the fans are going to be clamoring. Dare I say, they might even be chanting.
Dude, they're clamoring today for it. We haven't even thrown a pass. Quarterback's going to be something to watch. I do want to talk Fields in a second. Boom, what do you think on the Flacco thing? Quick on me. The pressure on Watson, I don't think it'd be a bad thing. Again, if this season making sure that he's good to go, you need to figure it out. Put a little fire under him. See what you got. Brown's making the smart move of a guy that can get it done, and he's done it before. My reason on frankly why I don't think Flacco, I don't see it. I just don't. I don't think you can capture that lightning in a bottle again. That was a 1 in a million shot that you had last year. He's 38. I'd rather have somebody that I actually maybe could have a future with, but they need it for the now. They need it if things go bad this year. I'm not sitting Deshaun Watson for anything other than injury. Even if it goes really bad, well, I guess maybe then you would sit him, but then the answer has been cast, if you will, that you're done with Watson. You got to move on from him, and there's a lot of hell with that. But with Flacco, I don't see it. And as we start this tampering period, I am of a belief that Flacco and his group at the Combine, he wasn't there, but his agents were. I think they started to get the sense that there might not be a job out there for him, a starting job, even a bridge job. So then he starts with, all right, I'll come back to the Browns, or I love Cleveland, I want to come back. And I get where the Browns are coming from. There's a security there with him because you know what you saw. I just come back to, Boom, I think it was a 1 in a million shot that you had last year. I'd rather invest some time and some effort into a guy that might potentially be your future backup. I don't really see Flacco. But again, as we start to watch what happens today, as these dominoes start to fall, we know Baker's now back in Tampa. We know Russ. Russ is an interesting one, though, because Pittsburgh, for them saying they didn't want a quarterback, clearly that was not truthful. They have him now, but that takes him off the board. And there are still opening jobs out there. Maybe that helps Flacco to find a job. Maybe there is something opening up there. I don't know why I sniffed Tennessee. Because if they start Will Levis, wouldn't you want maybe a guy like Joe Flacco to be the fallback there? As this starts for the Flacco fans out there, I think we're going to start to get some news on that. I think we're really going to start to see the wheels turn on Flacco on figuring out whether he's coming back or not. For my money, Bohm, I'd say I would prefer to look elsewhere. I just would.
I get the sense that, and despite the way that things ended with Flacco and the Browns, a little bit ugly in that playoff performance, I get the sense that he could probably command money elsewhere. And when he said, I would love to come back to Cleveland, that almost felt like a leverage play for him. It just
100%.
it makes the most sense. But it also kind of makes other teams maybe more inclined to give him more money.
That's a good point too.
Steal him away from Cleveland.
You're right.
Yeah.
About that.
That being said, I would agree. It also makes more sense for him to go to a team like Tennessee, where you've got a young quarterback in his second year.
Washington, if they draft a guy, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought maybe New England, but they're going to get Brissett up there for whoever they draft. It's a lot of that game plan of what we're doing in misdirection with Justin Fields. So this came out from Dan Graziano yesterday. And per him, and I saw some Dove Kleiman, take that for what you will. But anyway, people really love or hate Dove Kleiman. That
an enigma.
He is. That apparently, from Graziano and Fowler, the Bears are not getting the calls that they thought they would on Justin Fields. So let me see if I can find this here real quick. All right. I'm going to scroll back up here. Justin Fields. Where are we at? All right. Here's Graziano and Justin Fields. I'm still not hearing anything to convince me the Bears won't take Caleb Williams. I don't think that's up for a debate anymore. Which they will trade Justin Fields. But according to Dan Graziano, they have not found the market that they were hoping for Fields. So as of now, they're waiting to see what happens with Kirk Cousins. We now know Baker Mayfield and some of the others to see if that could set the market once situations sort themselves out. The idea that Chicago could get a second-round pick for Fields no longer seems likely, which is crazy to me. Then, from Dan Graziano, the message the Bears are getting back from teams is that they do not consider Justin Fields any more of a sure thing than Sam Darnold or Drew Lock. What? Justin Fields is Sam Darnold? I refuse to believe that.
That's an absurd take.
That is insane. Now, the game being played. Boom, you're the Bears. I'm a team calling. Hey, I'm interested in Justin Fields. All right, we wanted to. Oh, wait a minute. He's no better than Sam Darnold. Wait a minute. That could very well be what's going on here. Or this is truly it, that people view him, other teams view Justin Fields as broken. I don't know why I have a saying. Like, you say something's broke. When I say something's broke. It's bad. It's broke. Maybe Justin Fields is really broke. He's in a bad spot. I can't help but not think, boom, call. I like, and we talk about Flacco, how much that would light things up. I'm going to say this right here and now. I would trade a 3 for Justin Fields today. Today, I would make a 3. Yes, you've traded away a couple of picks. I don't want to give up the 2. And apparently, according to the reports, you don't need to give up a 2 anymore. But if there is just a 3 on the swap for Justin Fields, where do I sign? When do I get him to Cleveland? That'll light things up around this place. And I know that. But on the insurance policy, people want, let me put it this way. For the people that really want Joe Flacco as that insurance policy, the security blanket for Justin or for Deshaun Watson, think of that as Justin Fields. Now, your comeback is Justin Fields didn't set a bunch of records for month passing and do the things that he did with the Browns last year. I get that. But what you have here is a player that I still think can be successful in the NFL. I think that's what makes or breaks this debate. If you think Justin Fields is still worth anything in the NFL, I do. I still believe that he can be a good, above average quarterback. Go make that move. If it's just for a 3, I'm making that move all day. I don't know if I believe this. I think the league they're just playing right now with the Bears because they know the Bears are actually the one that are backed into a corner on this. They're taking Caleb Williams. There's no question or discussion to be had there anymore. They're taking Caleb Williams. The other teams know you're not riding this out with both of those guys. There are people in Mike Tannenbaum and, some of the other analysts that could try to throw that out. No. You're not keeping both those guys around there. That doesn't make any sense for them. So these teams know Justin Fields will not be playing quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Why do we have to outbid ourselves here? Why do we have to sit here and bid against one another for a guy that we know is going to be released eventually if he's not traded? I think they'll have, I don't want to say released, but they'll trade him somewhere. These teams are just posturing. They're fighting with one another. Maybe that's true. Maybe that is true. Maybe the real belief is that Justin Fields is unsalvageable, that he cannot be fixed. I would still take a third-round flyer on that guy to see if you could get it fixed. His contract, you'd have him for a year, right? If I'm not mistaken. You get him for 1 year. And then you would have to either re-sign him or figure something out. I don't know. What if you did this? What if you traded a 3 for him and you went to Justin Fields and said, you're going to make the money. I'm going to pull up his contract here because he's got his 5th year option this year, right? Boom, am I mistaken that?
So you're saying like he's entering his 5th year?
Is he not entering the 5th year? Or no.
He's only played for what, like 3?
That's right. You get to pick up the 5th year option for him next year.
Yes.
$25 million. $25 million if you want to pick that up for next year.
A pretty penny.
This year's 6. That's right. Yeah, I make that move, man. I do.
I didn't see this conversation happening.
I do.
I mean, I kind of love it, but maybe that's the Ohio State bias in me.
Would you tell me or not? Would you tell me or not that you will have your answer on Deshaun Watson at the end of this season, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd certainly hope so, barring some sort of unforeseen circumstances. Like, there's no more excuses in terms of, like,
exactly.
You got to come in healthy, right? You'll be ready to go before, like, when minicamp picks up. You've now got all the weapons at your disposal. You have to assume, because the window is wide open right now for the Browns. Andrew Berry has been aggressive. I expect that to continue. I don't know if there'll be any splashes as big as Jeudy, but I anticipate more splashes in general. I think that they're going for guys to win now. And so the jury is out, but I think the decision will have come to fruition over the course of this season.
So with that, let's play that out for a second. Let's say they go get Justin Fields. 3rd round pick. Fine. Great. He's here. $6 million for this year. You have to pick up his 5th year option at $25 million before May. Here's the game plan for the Cleveland Browns. Number 1, you decline that option. You say, we're not picking that up. So in essence, you have Justin Fields on a 1-year deal. Okay? Deshaun Watson plays, and it goes really bad. Your answer is it's no longer Deshaun Watson. So then you franchise tag or sign Justin Fields to a deal and say he is your new starting quarterback. And he would have been in the system. They would have practiced, maybe even played a little bit. And you know if he's the guy or not. The other side of it, Deshaun Watson plays extremely well, and he's your starting quarterback. You're good to go. All right, well, Justin, we appreciate your time. We'll see you later. And you're out the door, gone. For $6 million is the backup number, which is probably what you would have paid anyway. You're out. I don't like the other side of it, which there are bigger issues to be had if it's number 1. If it's number 1 that you traded for Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson plays horribly, I at least would like to have somebody in the building to have an option of being your starter moving forward. And that's crapping on Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I don't mean to do that. Maybe they like DTR, and he truly is the future. At least they're here. At least that gives you the options of them being here. And again, if Watson plays great, then you let Justin Fields walk. I think it starts with declining an option. And I'll tell you this too. Even if Watson played bad, do you really think Justin Fields, at this point of his career, he can't even get a 2nd-round pick? Do you think there's going to be people lining up to sign him after next season, especially if he doesn't play? If Watson plays the whole season and it's bad and Justin Fields doesn't play, I don't think there's going to be anybody lining up for him next year. Dude, there's so many things that I just see as a win-win-win-win-win. Do it. Do it. The only thing would be, as we talked about earlier with Flacco, how people would handle that. How Deshaun Watson would handle it, the itchy trigger finger of turning things over to Justin Fields. I'm sorry that I am in this position. I need to start preparing like Deshaun Watson's not the answer. Because the easier thing, Bohm, is that he is the answer. And I can pivot off of that. What you don't want to be is sitting there finding out that he actually isn't it, and you've got nothing. You have not prepared in the least for the potential reality that Deshaun Watson's not your franchise quarterback. I need to start putting some safeguards in place. And I will say this, and it pains me to say, Joe Flacco is not a safeguard. For this year, sure, I'm talking about the franchise. I'm talking about the future of this team. I need to start having some safeguards in place. And if Deshaun Watson doesn't like that, sorry, man, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. I think Fields just makes too much sense. There is more upside there than Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. And if there, and this is again, we're diving headfirst into Bohm that somebody's really not going to give them a second-round pick. That could change in a week. That could change in a week. A team doesn't get, because here's the other circle that we're watching right now. Where's Kirk Cousins going to go? The hot and heavy rumor now is Atlanta. They're all in to get him. Okay. So then that now opens up Minnesota. He's not going to go back there. Okay. Who do they get? Are they good with just going to draft J.J. McCarthy or just keep Michael Penix in the purple, something like that? Denver seems to be all in on drafting a guy. Are the Raiders all in on Aiden O'Connell? What are the Titans doing? You know, the Patriots seem pretty set. But I'm saying, as I think Cousins will be the domino. Baker's going back to Tampa. What'd you think of that deal, by the way? 50 guaranteed on 3 for 100.
You know, it's interesting.
I thought that was pretty good for Baker.
Oh,
to be honest with you.
absolutely.
I thought it was pretty good for him.
For one, I'm really happy for Baker. Like, this is a guy who obviously wears his heart on his sleeve, had quite a bit of a resurgence last season, leading them to the playoffs. I'm very happy for him. I don't know that I could honestly say that I could, like, put the faith in Baker to lead me to a Super Bowl. Like, he doesn't strike me as that caliber of a quarterback, but I do think that you're going to get above average quarterback play out of him. And really, so Mike Evans, is he for sure coming back?
Yeah, he's good. He's re-signed there,
okay.
So he's back.
That's huge.
And that's, I think, probably had to play a factor into that for Baker, sure.
Yeah, Evans was a massive safety valve for Baker. I mean, a lot of times,
they did
one of the
lose
best jump ball guys in all of the NFL.
Oh, I love Mike Evans. They did lose Dave Canales, who's their OC. Now he's up there in Carolina, so I think that certainly has a little change to it. But I think as we wait to see what happens with Kirk Cousins, then the Bears will start having some conversations. And it sounds like Cousins is going to test free agency. I don't know why, man. I think he goes back to Minnesota. How could he not? And then that would start to squeeze things on Atlanta. Because what do we hear about Atlanta? Cousins, Baker, and Fields. So now you only got one guy left. And I could see them going all in to get Justin Fields. I'm going to be pretty scary with some of those guys I got down there. Am I putting too much? You and I are on the same page here. Am I putting too much on Justin Fields? I'm not trying to say he's a top 5 quarterback. It's just like I saw things with that Chicago offense that I frankly think was horrendous. And he still was able to make plays. The rushing yards, some people don't like that because then that's how you get hurt. I don't know. I think Justin Fields is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, so the biggest knock with Fields, I feel like, from what I've gathered, is the fact that he holds onto the ball for too long. One of the longest times holding onto the ball in all of the NFL last season. I don't put that all on him when you have an incompetent play caller, when guys aren't always getting open. Now, there have been times where he has missed wide open players, like he didn't see them. But I think it was just a dysfunctional offense in general. I don't think any of that has to do with Fields. That Bears organization has been incompetent offensively. I mean, going back to like the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, he needs another shot in the NFL, man. He's too talented not to get another chance.
Well, and I'll tell you one more. Wouldn't it help a year for him to sit? Again, I'm just greasing the wheels on the Browns. What if you brought him here and said, yeah, the plan is for you to not play here. The plan is for Deshaun Watson. And again, here's a guy maybe you could pick his brain and help things out a little bit here. I think it'd be beneficial for Justin Fields. And I'm sure he wants to play because he wants to go out there and get it. The best case scenario for Justin Fields is he goes to Atlanta. They've got weapons. He's going to start. He plays well, and he gets a boatload of money. Either on that 5th-year option that they pick up for 25, or he signs a long-term deal. He probably wouldn't want to come to Cleveland and sit. But if the Browns view Justin Fields the same way I do, where he's fixable, then let him sit. Then you let him sit. And I will say this, Bohm. We've seen this with quarterbacks in the past too, right? Sometimes sitting reinvigorates the other teams because it's such a recency bias type of league from time to time where there's this stink on Justin Fields right now. If he sat for a little bit, I keep thinking of Mitch Trubisky, right? Maybe that's the option. What happened to Mitch? The Steelers signed him and thought maybe he'd start. If Fields came here, sat for the year, and at the end, again, that's under Deshaun Watson plays really well, I can almost guarantee you there'd be a team come calling. Now, again, he'd be a free agent. You have to pick up that option and all that kind of stuff. Those are free and you bear it. But I saw that yesterday, that they can't even get a 2 for Justin Fields. I'm trading a 3 for him. I am.
Do you think that Fields gets moved before the NFL draft? A lot of times, some of these deals we don't see shake out until teams know for sure who they have or who they don't.
Sure.
Like from needs positionally. And so some teams are going to come away with a quarterback in the draft that going into it, we were like, they need to get someone now. I am curious, like if it happened before the draft, then you know a team is all in on this guy.
Well, the other thing, you're right, because you're talking about a team that let's say they take Caleb Williams. The Bears don't want to do that because then it's a for sure thing, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, Minnesota, somebody takes J.J. McCarthy. They were all in on J.J. McCarthy, and somebody swoops in and takes him. And then they were all in on this guy. Then they could – this trade seems big enough that they want to move now. Then, the other thing is that the pick you would be getting is not going to even be that night. It'd be different if it was a first-round pick, and you're like, I want this pick so we can prepare for it. You're not getting that, or at least that's what it sounds like you're not going to get. So I would imagine it gets done soon. I think you're right. What it's going to be is there's going to be a clear group that are going to go to the draft. There's a clear group that's going free agency, and the group in free agency that doesn't pick up Kirk Cousins. Because at this point, it's kind of shook out kind of the way we thought. Maybe Russ was a little bit of a curveball, but the fact that Kirk Cousins is going to test free agency coming up at noon today, him landing could change all of this. I never thought, think about this. Where Kirk Cousins goes and what we might even get at noon today has an impact on the Cleveland Browns. Because that could be your window for either Flacco or Fields. Again, Cousins will have an impact on Joe Flacco. Kirk Cousins will have an impact on Justin Fields. And the fact that Russ is in Pittsburgh, that is done because that would have been an impact too because now you got to face a team that got better at quarterback. I want to say they're good at quarterback, but they got better. It's all going to play out. All comes up at noon with the legal tampering period, so we'll wait to see how that kind of plays out a little bit later in the show. Bohm's got the morning update. We'll get to time up in a little bit, but Bohm, let's transition right to... Well, let me tell you about our friends at Tipico. We'll skip our break here coming up. Folks, Tipico, get signed up. We're going to get our boost rolling tonight. Suns. We're going to talk Cavs here in just a second. We'll send our boost out a little bit later. Tipico's in the building with us this morning, actually. Got a little photo shoot coming up with our friends at Tipico. Folks, get signed up with that code Fontana100. When you deposit and bet $25 as a new customer, you will get a $100 bonus credit added to your account. And then you can take advantage of the boost that we do, the flex parlays, the imperfect parlays that we play from time to time. And I got to tell you, one of my favorite things now with Tipico, as I bet on there, is the reward system. The cashback rewards are flying. And then just like a lot of other sports books, there's a lot of, I got a bonus credit. Bohm, I know nothing of soccer, right? But I have a $5 protected parlay bonus bet for soccer. I'll throw something together. I've got a $10 protected bet for the leading scorer in the NBA. Oh, the NCAA tournament's rocking right now, or at least soon to be. Get betting with that. Tipico is the place to do it, folks. Use that code Fontana100 for new customers. Deposit and bet $25. You get $100 in bonus bets, and we'll get our Cavs boost rocking with our friends at Tipico coming up. That was one of the most disgusting Cavs games I think I've seen in a long time, Bohm. And it's not that I'm ripping Damon Jones and Isaiah, not that Damon Jones, the other one, ripping Isaiah Mobley because they had to play. That was just a really just poor basketball game. And I watched that game with a take that I have this morning again. Darius Garland can't lead this team. I can't watch that anymore. And I feel really bad saying that because I like Darius Garland a lot. And he signed up, and there was a point that people thought he was the future. And then maybe they thought it was Evan Mobley. Unfair or not, how I view these games, Darius Garland should be going off for 35 and winning these games. You want to look back to just the other night against the Timberwolves. That is what I need. And maybe I'm getting too hooked up on game by game here. He goes out tonight, puts up 35, and we beat the Suns. Maybe we're having a different conversation. But games like that get me so frustrated. They really do. Because I want to see a little something. I want to see what I think Darius Garland can be as the guy. And every turn, Bohm, I'm getting the answer that I don't want, that he's not going to be it. Now, you're saying, well, of course not. We have Donovan Mitchell, but I'm just talking about the idea of what he was going to bring to this team. You got outscored by George Niang last night.
I was going to say, something's up when Niang is your lead scorer.
That's like that.
Only player to get 20 points on the Cavs roster.
You can't have that, man. I can't have that. And when you watch the games, and again, I will give a pass. You had to start, LeVert Niang, and you had to play Isaiah Mobley, and it was disconjointed, but the offense just looks so bleh when Garland's got to run it. And I hate it. I don't like this. And again, it could all change tonight. They somehow pull one out their rear end and beat the Suns. We're having a different conversation. I just watch these games, Bowman. I don't like what I see with Darius Garland running it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate that. I really do.
At this point, obviously he had the jaw injury, which kept him out for quite an extended period of time.
He did, yeah.
At this point, though, it feels far along since that happened, where it's like, okay, you should be back in midseason form by now. And it's interesting because going into this season, I would have thought, like, okay, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, both great playmakers, maybe better individually. But now I kind of have the sense that maybe, like, he kind of needs Spida back in the fold here in that lineup coming back from injury. Because when he has to be the guy, and we've seen it, like, late in games, multiples of occasions where he's turning the ball over, bad pass here or there. I still think he's an elite shooter. When he's on, he is one of the best in the NBA. But he hasn't put it all together consistently enough to this point, and you're right, to be the leader of this team. Is that something that can change? And he is still a young player. And As I mentioned, the injury, can we see that growth? Can we see him take that next step here as we get to the back end of the NBA regular season?
Then you talk about the future. He's on that deal. Does he become a guy that is a trade? The Cavs have to make moves. The Cavs can't keep this team together the way that it's constructed. You got money that's going to go to Mitchell. You got money that's got to eventually go to Evan Mobley. You think one of these guys are going to get traded. And I never thought that my first reaction was going to be Darius Garland. And I'm sorry to say now it is. And I don't like it. I don't like saying that's a job for Kobe. He got a really hard job facing him on what he's going to do with the future of this team. But there's just games, man, that I see. And it's not just last night. It's I want him to ascend. I want him to be the guy that I think that believe that I can be. And he's just not. He's just not. And maybe it is the injury. Lost a lot of weight with that. He still gets just, dude, it seems like he gets hit in the face every game. Every game I watch, he's catching one in the chops or he's getting hit in the chest again. I don't know. There's something about it. But even there are times in the game last night, he's got the ball in his hand. And you want to know what frustrates me probably more than anything? I'm sitting there watching it on my phone and I'm screaming, shoot it! Shoot it or take it to the rack. And I know that the X's and O's play is to dump it off to this person. I go, I don't want Damon Jones taking any more shots. You, Darius, you take it. I want you. Okay, Sam Merrill's open for a corner three. Take it. Take it. Jared Allen, he's there, sure. I want a little more ownership maybe of Darius Garland when these guys are out. That is a game where I want him to step up, and I know that J.B. Bickerstaff would hate this, right? He would hate this, of just saying, you take every single shot. You do everything. That's not how basketball is meant to be played. I understand that. That's kind of what I want, though. That's what I want more from Darius Garland, is him just doing it. because this should be his opportunity to prove that he can. And then again, you got to reassimilate these guys and figure out what the whole offense is going to be. All that. I get it. I understand all that. But Bowman's lacking for me. My Darius Garland fandom is lacking right now, and I'm hurting because of it. I don't want that. I want him to go off for 45 and lead us to a win, and he just didn't. Maybe tonight's different. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's such a lovable dude, too. Obviously,
he's
great
great
guy, great worker off the court and on. But it's, the performance output you've been seeing from him lately is, to say the least, it's been a little disappointing.
Yeah. No, it is. And this should be the time for him to do it. This should be the time to show up. And the thing is, I would actually rather him get into this, get so used to throwing up all these shots, because when Mitchell comes back, I think it's easier to dial that back, right? As opposed to kind of where we're at, where I don't think he's producing. I don't think he's doing what he's supposed to. All right, Mitchell comes back. Now he needs you to step up. No, I'd rather Darius Garland go out there and put up all these points, and when Mitchell comes back, to go, all right, man, we're going to dial this back now. I think that's easier to do, to show us a little bit of something. We got the Suns tonight. We'll get to our boost a little bit later. Cavs are home dogs. Are we getting Donovan Mitchell back for this game tonight, by the way?
Game time decision.
All right.
Yeah, I was looking at the injury report.
Yeah.
Garland is on the injury report as well as a game time decision.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics of that one.
Yeah, I didn't see that. He's on, again, game time decision. There's optimism that he'll return soon. So now Chris Fedor, shout out to Chris, he had a tweet yesterday that said Mitchell is unlikely to play tomorrow night, talking about tonight. But then in his update this morning, Mitchell was reevaluated this weekend to gauge the progress of his left bone bruise in his knee following the PRP injection. Okay. Sources tell Cleveland.com he's not expected to play Monday night against the Suns. However, there is growing optimism that Mitchell can make his return at some point during the 3-game road trip to New Orleans, Houston, and Indiana. The line is 4. I think I saw it this morning on Tipico.
Devin Booker also, by the way, game time decision.
Okay, so that, folks, and that's where the NBA, you're playing a little bit of a game here. You might want, it's 6.5 now. It's 6.5 on the side of the
After
Suns.
last night, I guess.
Well, that, and then again, once it's announced that Mitchell is for sure not going to play, it's going to jump a couple of points, and then whether Booker doesn't, or let's call it for what it is, Bohm, I wouldn't play him tonight. He's dealing with something, dude. You got, the Cavs you just saw without Donovan if he plays. 6.5. 220 is the over-under. We'll get to some trends. We'll get to our boost a little bit later with our friends at Tipico for the Cavs tonight. I don't want to read too much into this game tonight. I'm trying not to. It's a back-to-back. This stretch has just been so bad for the Cavs, man. 12-18. Finally coming out the other side of it. And again, if it's getting Mitchell completely healthy and cleared out to be ready to go for the rest of the regular season, I'm all in for that. All right, so moves around the NFL. Nothing really important for the Browns this morning. Just kind of, so what today is going to be, you're seeing some last-minute deals for some of these teams to get guys under contract or released before we hit tampering at noon. We'll keep everybody updated if we see anything interesting with the Browns. We're going to dive back in to talk about Jerry Jeudy coming to the Browns, Russell Wilson going to the Steelers. We got that. We'll get to our boost in hour 2. Bohm's going to help us with the grid. So, Bohm, no pressure. We were on a 3-game streak here with the Immaculate Grid. So we'll get to that coming up later. He's got the morning update. We'll dive into Time Hop. We got our bracket, our month-long bracket. We had our winter Scorchers last week for the best bar in Cleveland on the east side. Boom, we go south this week. We're going Berea, Strongsville, Brunswick, Medina, Fairlawn, whatever you want in that general area. What do you think about Olmsted area? That's west side, right? North Olmsted, Olmsted Falls, stuff like that.
As an East Sider, it's hard for me to say.
What do you think about Scorchers winning the east side? Fair? Happy Moose was in there. Some downtown Willoughby spots were in there with Scorchers. Bedford Heights that took it down.
I think it does have a great reputation.
I've heard good things. So we'll do our bracket coming up later as well. Best South Side as we go around Northeast Ohio for the best bar in Cleveland. We'll get to that coming up as well. Folks, Monday, always one of the biggest days here on Big Play. So we kick things off 9 to 11 as always. Later tonight, Blake and Greg Williams. I didn't know this, Bohm, that Coach Greg, he's the defensive coordinator for, is it DC? Or he's, do you know what team he's on? I should know this. I'm sorry to Greg.
It's either DC or Carolina.
Might be Carolina. Nope, the DC Defenders. We were right. He's the coordinator for the DC Defenders. I saw promos all day yesterday running for, they got the USFL, XFL, the United Football League is starting up. So here's the interesting thing. He and Blake are going to do the show. He's doing it remotely while coaching a team. Can you find a show like that anywhere? You have an active defensive coordinator in the UFL that does a show every Monday for us here on Big Play. So they got it tonight with Come Get Some, Hanford show, Big Play Cleveland show. That's all just Monday, folks. And then tomorrow, we got Enter the Jungle. We've got Josh and Maria Cribbs. We've got our new Cincinnati show down there with Drew and the Bengalorian. We got Drennan. We got it all. Chico, we're here. Big Play is the place. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and also on YouTube at Big Play. We're all over the place. It's where you need it, right here on Big Play. Let's catch our break. Bone's got the morning update to do a little bit of throwback for us today as you join us this morning. Tampering period coming up as well. Got you locked and loaded. The Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, back here on the Fontana Show, let's get to the morning update. I think that's the intro. So, Bohm filling in for Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. He's out sick. You want to just do this one? It's the opening bed. Try the other one. We're trying to find the beds, the right bed.
We got a few options.
All right, get another one. No, that's just the when I get something right, which is rare. Oh, that's the breaking news one. No. The Browns haven't done anything yet.
Let's see what else we got.
I think this is it.
I'm into this one.
I think this is it. If not, no, yeah, this is it. This is the morning update. Yep, this is 100% the morning update. All right, so we're there. We got it. Stories aplenty. Browns, Cavs. Bohm's got it all. Chris Jones. Woo!
Oh, yeah,
dude, Christian Wilkins. he better go buy dinner for Chris Jones when he signs his deal, because the money Chris Jones got, the money that Christian Wilkins is going to get, scratch him off the list. He ain't coming to the Browns, I'll tell you that much. But nonetheless, Bone's got all the stories. Please take it away, Michael Bone.
All right, well, we start with the big one here in Cleveland, Matt. The Cleveland Browns acquiring Denver Broncos former Alabama wide receiver Jerry Jeudy for a 5th and 6th round pick. Jeudy entering the final year of his contract. Huge acquisition for the Browns. Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
You've got Amari Cooper entering his last year of his contract as well. Is it possible that the Browns bring both of them back for more beyond next season?
I would hope so. And you got to understand that how are you going to replace them? Again, if this season goes the way that we believe and we hope, you eventually have guys like, tell me, Bone, we've known each other a long time. You can call me crazy. It won't be the first nor last time. Has David Njoku ascended to a point where he is invaluable to this team? Like, you cannot let David Njoku leave, right? There's no way that even if you say, well, we're going to go sign this other tight end or we're going to do this. No. Nick Chubb is certainly to that level, and the knee injury threw a wrench and all that. I get it. But what I'm saying is it means more to us, to this team, because they fit. Fit is such a big part of this. You can go get a player and sometimes you mold around them or you figure it out. Sure, I get all of it. But tell me that Amari Cooper doesn't fit this. And that Amari Cooper also realizes that. And he goes, this is the best place for me, is it not? Right? All of that is important when you think about who you're letting go and not. So, to your point, I would hope that these guys, again, Cooper and Jeudy, ball out this year. And the Browns are stuck with a really hard problem to say, we have to keep them here. They can't leave. They fit what we do. They're really good in this offense. They hopefully have built a chemistry with Deshaun Watson, but you got to make it work. Now, the issue, money. Cooper, well paid, entering, what would he be, 31, something like that, around there at the end of the season? Gets a little bit different, right? But he wants one more payday. Jerry Jeudy would be the one that if he goes out this season and puts up 1,300 yards and a bunch of touchdowns, then you got a problem. Then you're going to have to say, we got to pay, and just the sheer money. Here's the thing. Justin Jefferson's going to get $30 million a year. That's just the start. There's an escalation factor to this. And I'm not saying Jerry Jeudy's to that level, so you'd come back and be like, dude, you're more worth like $24 million, which is kind of semi-close to what you're paying Amari Cooper. Those are the discussions that Andrew Berry's going to have with these guys. Best case scenario, these guys play really well, and they become invaluable pieces to this team, that you have got to keep them here. I think there's a chance of that. I really do. And you also, I mean, the other factor is these wide receivers that just seem to get printed coming out of college. Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harris. Every year, there's just more top-flight receiver. That is the one position that has ascended the most coming out of the draft. You'd like it to be quarterbacks. It's not. Bro, these receivers are coming out ready to go. These guys are already running route trees in the college game and the high school game, and they're coming out polished, ready to go. So you'd say, well, they're cheaper, and we could find another guy there. You get your first-round picks back. Here's another interesting question that I'll pose back to you, Michael Bone. With Jerry Jeudy, does that take receiver off the board for you at 54? I'm going to tweet that out. I'm going to send that out at Matt Fontana 83. With the Browns getting Jerry Jeudy. Is it J-E-U or U-E? J-E-U.
D-Y.
You still take a wide receiver at 54? Yes or no? I'm going to send that out right now. What would you do? Would you still take one at 50? I was hell-bent on 54 being a wide receiver. People could talk to me about Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker. They could talk to me about Braden Fisk, D-tackle, all that. I was so in on receiver. I still think I'm there. Bone, would you still take one?
Well, first off, I think that no matter what, the Browns are coming away with a receiver in this draft in general.
Sure.
At 54, it certainly becomes a bigger question. I still believe Andrew Berry is a BPA guy, best player available. Now,
okay.
It feels like they're walking away with a midday wide receiver each year so far that Berry's been with the Browns. And I don't anticipate that going any differently despite what you have because, as we've talked about, I mean, you've got some massive lingering contracts. Now, whether they decide to extend one of these guys before the draft could change my stance on that. I don't know if it does happen by that time. But I think you got to come away with a receiver, regardless of the fact that you just brought in Cedric Tillman, who you're hoping to get some more reps this season.
Yeah.
I could see it. I think it's very plausible still because this is the golden era of wide receivers, Matt. Like if there's ever a position where it feels like it would be tough to miss, and Andrew Berry has. But receiver, like there are so many good ones in this class. There's going to be so many more in the next class and the year after that. And I mean, you got to capitalize on that.
You got to. And I mean, those are the things if you're building this up with Deshaun Watson. And that's again, you have found guys in the draft at almost every other position. Maybe not offensive line because you haven't needed to. You have found a safety. You have found a corner. You have found defensive line. There's some guys you want to just see if they can actually play or not. I like Jerome Ford. I think that was great. You have literally found guys in almost every other position except wide receiver. And it's not like they haven't tried. To your point, you're right. We got to see what Ced Tillman's got moving forward. But maybe their option is just continue to go through the. So the thing is, same thing. Picture it this way. Instead of drafting guys you're going to trade for them, doesn't change, you still need to re-sign them. Your ultimate goal is to do what you are hopefully going to do with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You draft him, you develop him, you sign him. You did that with Grant Delpit. You did that with Denzel Ward. You did that with David Njoku. You did that with Nick Chubb. Maybe you just change things on the first level. Instead of drafting him, we trade for him, but still develop, then pay them is what you're eventually going to have to do. Hopefully Jerry Jeudy is a part of that fixture moving forward.
Well, continuing on, commencing fourth here on today's morning headlines, Matt. I want to go over to our divisional foes in the Pittsburgh Steelers, who they got their man at quarterback.
Let's ride, Pittsburgh.
Dude, let's ride.
He's so cringe. Like the cringe ratings go back and forth between Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. I'm trying to think who's most cringe in the NBA, Major League Baseball. I don't know yet.
I'll never get over the meme, or I guess the video, the edited video of like Russ being like, Broncos country, let's ride.
You know why everybody's walking in.
He's got he's superimposed with the chef's hat on, and there's like a kitchen burning behind him.
Do you think Mike Tomlin will let him have his own office there in Pittsburgh? Because he had his own office in Denver. Remember that? You think Mike Tomlin's letting that fly? It's so, and I don't mean to derail from your question here, but so it came out that Russ was searching for a team that he could start and was actually like a playoff contender, right? Not too many of those available, and Pittsburgh is that. But bro, talk about the flip of the switch here. Of when you went to Denver, everybody was bowing to you, man, and you got the money and the contract and the deal, and you got your own office, and you got all this stuff. You go to Pittsburgh, where they're bailing you out, and that stuff doesn't fly there. Maybe he needs that. Maybe he needs a little structure to his life, and that's going to help turn it around there. The thing is, and I see it boiling, they got Arthur Smith there too. And I know it went bad for him in Atlanta as the head coach. I still think he's a good offensive mind. Whether or not Russ has got anything left, I don't know. I don't want to find out. That's exactly where I'm at, Bohm. The question that we had earlier, do you think Russ has anything left? I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out in Pittsburgh. He could go play in Atlanta. He could have gone anywhere else, and I would have been like, sure, that's fine. He's in Pittsburgh with a new OC, with some weapons. I don't want the answer to that question. I don't even want to, you blank around and find out. I don't want to find out.
Yeah, and I find it ironic you talk about how like just a few years ago when the Broncos acquired him and the expectations were Super Bowl or bust, and now it feels like the Steelers, which for more or less, like they have a Super Bowl caliber roster, just missing a guy at that quarterback position. A few years ago, if the Steelers made this move, it would be Super Bowl or bust. Like they could even be picked as the best team in the AFC North by many analysts. So it's wild how far things have fallen for Russ. But that being said, going into this past season, I thought Russell was done. I didn't think he had any like juice left in the tank. And then when, as we found out in hindsight, like before he found out that he was going to be benched and he started winning games and we started seeing better play from him, I wonder how much like revenge or resentment factored into that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot with that.
Yeah,
I do, yeah.
the fact that, now he's signing with Pittsburgh for only $2 million, I think and of course getting the $18 million from Denver still.
38.
Or 38. Rather. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Russ cares. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But Russ is like, well, wait a minute. No, it's 38.
Good for him.
I mean, here's the thing. It's ironic it works out this way. He and Watson are the two biggest bust trades in the NFL history at this point. The race is on to not have that crown anymore. And they're going to play each other twice this year, maybe even more in the future. I don't know. Right now, and the debate is on of which one is worse. Because the Broncos actually gave up more for Russell Wilson than the Browns gave up for Deshaun Watson. The money was close, but then you add up all, and I don't have the graphic, I mean to find it, but it was like, Drew Lock and Noah Fant, but then all the other picks, like there was something, Bohm, that it was tied back to like Garrett Wilson. I think they gave a trade or like something like that. The Jets got it to get. Add all that up. Russell Wilson cost more, but Deshaun Watson's been worse. So it depends on what optics you want to look at. But make no mistake, the race is on for those two guys because they're number one and number two, whatever the order is, of the worst trades in NFL history at this point. And you don't want to be the winner of that race. A little updated news. Can I get you here real quick?
Please.
T. Higgins has gone to the Bengals and officially requested a trade. This is from Adam Schefter. I said, do you want a 5 and a 6? I can get you a 5 and a 6. You want that for T. Higgins? Oh, God. Oh, God.
Should the Browns pursue T. Higgins?
Yes. 54. Here's 2.
You want to talk about a wide receiver?
They would never trade him here, ever. Yeah. The Bengals, this is from Schefter. Bengals franchise tag wide receiver T. Higgins as requested a trade per sources. Higgins loves Cincinnati and hoped to be with the team long-term, but he's disappointed. They've not even had any long-term discussions since March of last year. He's ready to move on to a new team. That's, I'd love to get Rapine or Drew or the Bengalian, our new Bengals shows down there. I'd love to get their thoughts on this. Because it just seems like, okay. The Bengals don't seem well run, right? We know that.
Shout out Mike Brown.
We know that. We know that they don't seem well run. They don't have a lot of money. And this just seems to be yet another giant misstep in their management of that team. It's not that you just tag T. Higgins. If it is truthful that they've not even discussed long-term deals with him, that's how you piss a guy off. And if I was running Cincinnati, I would say, guys, in a closed room that T. Higgins isn't in, we got to at least keep the act up here. We at least have to have a conversation. We've got to keep lines of communication open. Because if we just tag him, say, we'll see in August, that's going to piss him off. It could be fake. It could be phony. It doesn't have to be truthful. But you at least got to talk to the guy. You at least got to exchange some numbers here to keep it up that you're trying to keep him. The Bengals thought, we'll just tag him. We all know he's going to leave. That's not going to fly. That's just not going to work. That's that's such old school. What a misstep. And trust me, I'm not complaining. Get T. Higgins out of there. He's a damn good player. I don't want him helping them out. But just what mismanagement. What just bad mismanagement there from Cincinnati. At least talk to the guy. Even if you're full of crap, at least talk to some numbers. Now it's on, man. Now it's on. Chiefs?
I think the Bengals probably want him out of the AFC.
Oh, I'm sure they do. What are some of the teams? Hang on. Let me see if I can find some of this. I just scrolled past it. Baltimore, Houston. Again, out of the AFC. But, I don't know. What would it cost?
Yeah, so, the fact that he just demanded a trade and he's only on a franchise tag, so it's a one-year deal.
Guaranteed.
Does he go for more or less than Jerry Jeudy?
Oh, more. A lot more. I think so.
Yeah?
I would think so. Yeah. I joked. I said, here, we'll give you 5 and a 6 more. We'll take it. We'll take them off your hands for
I know, right? That's the precedent. That's what's been set.
We'll do it.
Mad props to Mike Brown for slowly running that team into the ground.
Joe Burrow's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah, Joey B cannot be happy with that news today.
Yeah, no, good there. But again, we love it. T. Higgins wants out. Good. Bye. See you later.
Absolutely. Now, as we shift gears from one disgruntled player to an undisgruntled player, if undisgruntled is a word.
It is now.
It is now.
It is
damn
now.
it.
It's in the lexicon now.
Chris Jones, who
Yes.
you hinted at. What a deal. So he's getting paid, Matt. 5 years, over $150 million. So we talk about setting a precedent, right? This is the new precedent for those top-tier defensive linemen. Upwards of $30 million per year. Now, it's interesting to me, and I wonder how this might impact the Browns' current circumstances, right? Because you had Zadarius Smith last year rushing opposite Myles Garrett. There was talk of whether the Browns would bring him back or not. Now, Chris Jones, whether he deserves, or whether Zadarius deserves the kind of money that Chris Jones got,
That's not happening.
no, definitely not. It's there's different tiers to these sorts of things. But that being said, do you think that this new contract negatively impacts the Browns' chances of signing a high, I don't want to say top tier, but high tier defensive end to rush alongside Myles Garrett?
It just widens that gap, right? What you're talking about is so right on. Now, like, again, you talk about the gap, and what I mean is the highest paid guy at a position and the 12th position paid guy. Well, if Chris Jones goes up here, folks, that is proportional. It stays. That gap will always move. It doesn't go like this. It stays like this. So now you are elevating the money. That being said, there is only so much money to go around, and there is still a salary cap. But in the league, what do you need? Pass rush, corners, and wide receivers, and quarterbacks. That's it. And the thing that I saw in Chris Jones, there was just this gaudy-ass pass rush, not even win rate, I think it was pressure rate, Bo, of defensive tackles. He is in his own galaxy. He is in his own stratosphere. There's nobody even close from a D tackle position. I'm not talking edge rushers. I'm talking about interior D tackles. Chris Jones is one of one. Chris Jones is him. And that's why he got the deal that he is. Now, Christian Wilkins, again, that gap's going to slide. So he says, all right, he got this. I think I'm going to slide in somewhere here. I never thought Christian Wilkins was really the real answer for the Cleveland Browns. And it comes back to Jim Schwartz. If you sat down with Jim Schwartz and gave him a little truth serum, which is what I call whiskey, and you said, would you rather have a bookend pass rusher with Myles or an interior pressure threat from the D tackle position, he's going to tell you he wants the interior. A lot of coaches will tell you edge rushers are great. How you really screw with a quarterback is when you push the pocket. When you push the centers and the guards back into his lap, then you've got real problems. That seems to be another bit of a spot for Andrew Berry. Where has he spent the not most amount of money? Boom, what are the deals that we keep seeing? It's the Michael Bennett, right? Was he not? Was it Michael? No, not Michael Bennett. Oh, God. Malik Jackson. Sorry, Malik Jackson, who was just here, right? And then now Shelby Harris and Mo Hurst. There's so many of these D tackle deals. It's a little like the quarterback. Wide receiver. Maybe because they can't find these guys. And what you think about Siaki Ika, or if they switch, Alex Wright or move one of those guys inside, they don't have these D tackles right now. They don't have somebody that's meant to be pushing the pocket. I don't think they got the cash for Christian Wilkins. I don't. I'd be over the moon. I would love it if he was here. I just don't see that happening. Chris Jones is going to change a lot. And maybe teams come back and say, again, he's one of one. He's a different kind of guy, but it's still a sliding scale. Think about this, too. Don't forget this. Salary cap jumped $30 million. $30 million. The biggest jump in history. And it's not going to be the same moving forward. But everybody thought, that money's meant to go to the quarterbacks. What if your quarterback is already paid up, like Patrick Mahomes? Then there are going to be guys that catch the strays on that. And that's where Chris Jones got this money. I'm happy for him. Good. I don't want to, again, I would love to see the Chiefs go into the tornado here, but they can't. The other side of that, look at the Chargers now. Bosa, Khalil Mack, they got all these guys. They're calling, get rid of these guys. We can't pay them. We got to get them out of here.
Mike Williams could be on the outskirts.
I'd love Mike Williams. I know Mary Kay's been on that. I'm all for Mike Williams. So much money. So now I'm dude, could you imagine Mike Williams with Amari and with Jerry Jeudy? Woo!
Elijah Moore's got to be like shaking in
I'm
his boots.
sorry to Elijah Moore, man. And trust me, I didn't really work here, and I know he's in the future and all that for at least this year for now, but it ain't going to be a lot of footballs going his way, I don't think, this year coming up. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, now, I want to get to one more NFL transaction that occurred here, and we've talked about it earlier on the show. Baker Mayfield, the Bake Show.
Good for him.
Coming back to Tampa Bay. True or false, Tampa Bay has to be the favorite in the NFC South. Do you expect them to be the playoff maker of the NFC South?
Dude, Bryce Young, I think, is so bad.
It's a tumultuous situation too, though, but yeah.
So it's funny, I was getting ready for a time hop. This happened 1 year ago yesterday that Carolina made the trade to go up to 1, and I sent a tweet. They were going to get C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
They should have. Whatever.
You remember that interaction that Josh McCown had with C.J.?
Oh, yeah.
That's how they would play basketball together.
Yeah, that's right. I thought Frank Reich, I was a big Frank Reich fan. I thought he would fix it there, man.
He had those comments during the season, too, where he was asked about the owner meddling.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a David Tepper decision to take Young over Stroud?
Probably. I mean, but here's the thing. Would not ownership like a guy like CJ? He's big and tall. Like I don't like just
freaking good, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like I truly, and it's not against Bryce Young. I don't wish ill will on the young man. I feel bad for him. What were they thinking? Seriously, what were they thinking? This was not a draft that you took Kenny Pickett because there was not a single other quarterback worth being had. What were they thinking in that? It wasn't even another guy, Bohm. Who else was in that draft last year? I can't even think. Will Levis, right? It wasn't even Will Levis. It wasn't even anybody else. It was just two guys, and you screwed that up. Badly. So they're done. Carolina's fried. Atlanta, if they got Kirk Cousins, I would think maybe would be the favorite. The Saints seem to be yet another dumpster fire, right? Because they gave all that money to Derek Carr, who I don't think is very good. They have some players there. Speaking of the Saints, another Ohio State wide receiver.
Two of them.
I'd take him.
Michael Thomas or Chris Olave?
Oh, I'd love Chris Olave. I'm talking about Michael Thomas. And Curtis Samuel is out there, too. I'd love him.
Oh, he went to New Orleans? I missed that.
No, I'm talking about he's available. Okay. I'm talking for the Browns. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would absolutely love
I'm talking about bring him to the Browns.
One of the most underrated receivers in football.
I love Curtis Samuel.
Flying under the radar playing out.
Bring him on over, man. I'd love him here. I would. Michael Thomas, again, I'd take a flyer on. He's going to be a free agent, but I digress. The Saints, right now, yes, Tampa. Here's how I think it goes. Tampa, Atlanta, if they got Kirk Cousins, then New Orleans, then Carolina's in the cellar. So to your question, yes, I would say Tampa would be my betting favorite to get it there.
Yeah, Atlanta's my X factor in that division, just based solely on what they do with that quarterback position. Those questions need to be answered, perhaps a question to be revisited once they do answer that. But last one to put a bow here on this morning's headline segment. I want to get to the Cavaliers who fell last night to the Brooklyn Nets, 120 to 101. No Donovan Mitchell, no Evan Mobley. Clearly, that seemed to be a problem, right? No Strus. And now you got the second night of the back-to-back, taking on the 37-win Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker, game-time decision. Donovan Mitchell, unlikely to play, as we heard from Chris Fedor. Darius Garland also on the injury report as a game-time decision. I would assume that he's going to be good to go. And as you mentioned earlier in the show, Cavs, 6.5-point underdogs right now. Where are you placing your money on that one if you had to wager?
So here's the thing. Everything lines up for the Suns because this is the start of their road trip. So they were at home against the Celtics, lost a 10-point game to them. Now they're on a 4-game road trip. They go back to Boston, Charlotte, and Milwaukee. Excuse me. This is a big road trip here for the Phoenix Suns. And it's the starter of it. I would lean the Suns. Now, can I ask a question, Bo? Are the Suns good? 37-27. They are in position to potentially fall to the play-in tournament in the West. And I sit there and I admit that the beginning of the season, they were my sleeper team to win the NBA championship because I thought Durant and Booker and see, they get. I didn't know, and now I sit there and I watch them and I go, wait a minute, do they actually suck? Maybe they do. The thing about Durant, I don't know if I could ever count out Kevin Durant. Like, when you got a team with Kevin Durant, and especially, again, if Booker doesn't play tonight, I think that would be a savory opportunity for the Cavs. Is tonight one of those games that you feel a little magic for the Cavs at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse? When we beat the Celtics, you beat the Mavs. Like, maybe tonight's that kind of magic. And the Suns are nowhere near in the same stratosphere as the Mavericks or the Celtics right now. I think I'm putting too much on Phoenix. You're talking me into the Cavs plus 4.5 tonight. Now you got me leaning on it a little bit here. We'll get to our boost coming up a little bit. I just want to see a better game for the Cavs tonight, and it's got to be relative, dude. Last night was just bad. I didn't want to watch that game. It was kind of a porous game, whatever. Now you're a half game back in Milwaukee, who's allowing you to stay in this thing, by the way. You're only a half game out. If you told me that when Donovan Mitchell comes back, whether it's this week or not, if at worst you're a game and a half out of the 2 seed, I'd take that. That's a victory right there, because I need the 2 seed. I need it bad.
Yeah, now the second night of a back-to-back always scares me.
Oh, it's
with
terrible.
The Cavs and the quick turnaround. It is a long travel for Phoenix from down south up to Ohio, but I think it's safe to say that big three of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant has been quite a disappointment this season. They haven't been a cohesive unit.
No.
Like, we haven't seen all three of them playing together for that many games over the course of this long season.
I think I put too much on the Suns. I think I put too much on it, so maybe we'll take the Cavs plus 4.5 tonight. Let's see how it goes. All right, Bohm, are you excited to get going here with a little bit of the immaculate grid? Let's get to it. Now I got to introduce it and tell Bohm how it works. So the immaculate grid, as we do on the show every week or every day, we were on a bit of a hot streak last week. We ended with 3 in a row. Bohm, can we bring up the immaculate grid for today? Here it is. All right, here are the rules. You got to go across. You can keep the bed up, too. I think he plays one of the beds underneath it. I don't know which one.
Should we experiment with
Yeah, experiment. Hit it. Hit one. No, that's...
It sounds very gambling.
Actually, that might actually be the morning update.
Oh,
bed.
okay.
It's a bad day.
Switching things up today.
All right, that's fine. No, this bed is perfect. Yeah, I think whatever. Here's how it works. You got to go across, and you got to go up and down. So today we've got the Browns, so Bowman should be able to figure it out. A new element, we have a time factor here. We have 9 minutes to finish this out. And if not, then we lose for the day. There was a point system, but we were getting our asses kicked. It was a point if we got it done, and then a point to the fans for every grid that was open. So Bohm's got it. I've got it down. We're on the same team. Let's see if we can do it. Michael Bohm, the clock has started. We have 9 minutes for the immaculate grid. On the right side, we have, 50-plus sacks for that team, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's start there. You want to just knock out Aaron Donald for the Rams? Aaron Donald, the Rams. Let's do that. And we used to do the rarity score, but at this point, we just want to get it done. So Aaron Donald, done. 1 in the books. All right, here we go. Eagles, Chris Long.
Does he have 50 sacks?
I think he's got to, right? You want to go Reggie White because we know that for a fact. The minister of defense. All right, I would say, yeah, that's good. Go Reggie White. But also,
there's 3 Reggie Whites.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you clicked the right one. Good call. I was going to say, because he didn't play for any of those other teams. Now, the Lions.
I say we come back to this.
They might have to come back to that one. All right, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. All right, let's flip over to the Cleveland Browns. Odell, Rams, Browns. You want to knock that one out quickly?
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. The Browns and the Eagles.
Oh, actually, you mentioned a name. Malik Jackson.
Oh, Malik Jackson. Oh, good call. I love when that comes around full circle for us. on that.
Damn.
We could finish it out with Donovan Peoples-Jones if you'd like there on a little bit of Lions-Browns. All right, so we're on a good pace here. Good pace. We're only a minute in. Got 4 slots to go.
This one, okay. Von Miller, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Good call. Von Miller. Absolutely. Von Miller, who's got a huge number. They got to get him out of there. All right. Broncos, Eagles. I feel like there was a... Did Ronald Darby came to mind. Now, again, if we got to make sure we're good on this, because if we miss, then we're short one. We only get 1 guess on each. Let's talk. Do you feel... Yeah, that's part of the game here. You only get 9 guesses. So we go back and forth. Also a rule, because I know Bohm's new on this too. They have had to have played 1 regular season game for each team. Because we've thought of quarterbacks, and usually that's where we go is to quarterbacks on some of these guys. because that's the easy thing to do on this. But I digress. They got to play at least one regular season game. I feel like Ronald Darby is a really good answer here. If you want to let it run, are you feeling it all on Ronald Darby?
I feel like he played for the Eagles. I'm trying to remember if
See, I feel more confident that he played for the Broncos. So if you feel good that he played for the Eagles, I feel good he played for the Broncos. Let it rip, Ronald Darby.
Oh, God, I don't want to be like,
yeah, that's all right. Yeah! All right, let's go. All right, two more. We're only 2.5 minutes in. We got plenty of time here. Let's bring it back now. All right, Lions, Broncos. Well, go ahead. I got one.
Okay, I was good. Did Ruben Drones play for the Lions?
Ooh, good pull. I don't know. I thought about Graham Glasnow.
I don't know who that is.
He's a guard. And I know he was drafted by the Broncos. And I feel semi-confident that he plays for the Lions now. Graham Glasnow. But let's talk it through. Anybody else? And that's the other thing, too. We can go back. Where Ryan and I always mess up, Bohm, is we never think about guys that played 15, 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. It could be Art Schlichter. I know he played for the Lions. Did he play for the Broncos? I don't know. We'll have to look that up in a minute.
Speaking of throwback names, I was thinking of Ty Detmer for the Browns-Lions.
Oh, that's a good pull. That is a very good pull there. Wait a minute. I think he might actually work Lions-Broncos, too. He might. I'm not saying put him in. I like Graham Glasnow more. So the rule is if I Google it, we can't use it. Would you like me to Google Ty Detmer just to see?
Yeah, just to find out. Now I'm curious.
Let's go. Ty Detmer. I feel like that might have worked. Of course, BYU record setter. No, all right, it would not have worked. He did not play for the Broncos. You're right. Packers, Eagles, 49ers, Browns, Lions, Falcons. So good. Good. Glad we did.
Yeah.
I'm feeling...
I'm rolling with your gut today, man.
You like it? You want to go Graham Glass now? All right, you got him up. Let it roll. Yes! All right.
Ba-bam.
One more to go. This one might be tough, though, because I don't think of a lot of legacy pass rushers for the Lions. Now, here's the thing. They don't have to get 50 all with that team. It's that they have 50 career sacks and they ever played at any point for the Detroit Lions.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
I'm just trying to think in the bowels of history.
I know, because the other one, I think I just saw this about Tom Cousineau, right? Or is it Mark Gastineau? I can't remember. Because one of them is going into the greater Cleveland sports. I'm assuming that'd be Tom Cousineau. I don't know if Mark Gastineau's from here. Is he? I don't know. But one of them
associate Gastineau more with Detroit than I do Cousineau, but I don't know.
But if they went there, but the thing is, did they get 50 sacks?
Yeah.
Did they get 50 sacks? I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Aiden Hutchinson's a long ways away.
Yeah, he's like, that's the other thing is I cannot think of a pass rusher for Detroit at all.
Just so random.
It's so random. And then I started going to remember Jason Babin? He went all over the place. He was with the Eagles.
No way he had 50 sacks, though.
Oh, I think he did because he played forever. Okay. He played forever. So, but I don't think he played. That's kind of what I'm certain. Like a guy that went there and only played like a journeyman. Right. Right. Did they? Oh, my God.
You want to just roll the dice on Cousineau?
No, we got some time. We have 3 minutes. We can think. I'm just, son of a gun.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just Google Lions defensive lineman.
So here's the cool thing on the Immaculate Grid. When we're done, you can click on the grid and it'll give you answers. So we do that at the end. There's a lot of one of them was so blatantly out. It was like Richard Sherman. It was something it was like the Seahawks and the 49ers, and we didn't get it. Oh. And we were sitting there, we're like, idiots. Richard Sherman, of course. So that's the other fun part about the grid. I get text during the segment of people like, you're an idiot. You forgot about this guy. Lions 50 sack season. Oh my God. Not 50 sack seasons. Sorry.
That would be something.
That'd be something. That'd be quite something.
Defensive player of the year right there.
That'd be something there.
TJ Watt could never.
Did Aiden Hutchinson do that? No, he didn't do that. Okay. No, he's not him. So I'm saying, there's got to be.
Yeah. man. Of all the positions.
I know. Wide receiver we could get, corner,
totally.
like if it was interceptions, I got. Oh my god.
Even linebackers. Shout out to Boss Bailey.
Yeah, that's a good pull right there. Yeah.
Champ Bailey's brother.
Son of a gun. Again, it's got to be somebody that, like, dude. I don't know why I picture like a Brett. Remember like Brett Kiesel?
Yeah.
Somebody, not him, but there. I don't know why I have this picture of somebody like him.
Former Steelers D-lineman?
In a Lions uniform, like a tall white guy. That's what I keep thinking about.
Oh man.
If we gotta let it fly,
Cousineau?
on Cousineau, I just don't know if he got the 50.
Yeah,
He played a long. Because again, it's just a career. It's just a career. So it's like he could have gone elsewhere to get it. And this is the thing. I can't think of anybody recently that had gone through there.
Yeah, no.
That would have been close. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, I think we might have to let it roll here.
Okay, Tom.
I don't.
Man, that would be a pool if you got it.
How many years did he play?
82 to 87.
Oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way he got 50 sacks then. No, we might as well take him off then.
Look up Mark Gaston.
No, because I don't even know he played for the Lions. I think it's Tom Cousineau is who I'm thinking of. Oh my god, I can't even. The other one that I thought of, because I just know that he played there because I used to play Madden and I like sim drafted one year and I got him. A guy named Jeff Zagnonia. He was a D tackle, but I don't think there's
No way.
I don't think there's any way he got 50. I know for a fact he played for the Lions. He played there a long time. Pull that. Ready? Jeff, like Jeff. Last name ZG.
Got it. I mean, he played for 16 years.
All right, maybe he got 50. I don't think so, but that's my best bet.
How much time we got?
Time is up. 9 minutes.
All right,
Let it fly. Let it fly. No. Click on that or scroll down now on that and then click on the open grid and see how many there were. That's a tough one.
Bruce Smith?
Wait. He played for the Lions?
I don't know. Oh, this might just be all-time sacks.
Oh, is it really? Oh, is it? Because usually when you click on it, it's something that applies. Like, is it just all-time sacks?
Dwight Freeney would have worked.
Really? Damn.
He's the only one in the top 25 of sacks. Or wait, no. Al Baker, also former Cleveland Brown.
Oh, former Cleveland Brown. Dwight Freeney played for the... By God, he did for half a season. For half a season.
Oh.
That's a tough one for us. That's a tough one. Yeah, usually... Hang on, let me look at the Mac. Because I want to see...
This was my first time playing Immaculate Grid.
Isn't it fun, though?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it a lot of fun?
It is. I enjoyed that.
All right, I want to give up. I'm gonna scroll through here, too, to see.
Lions all-time sack leaders.
Well, no.
Cliff Averill.
Yeah, you're right. It's supposed to be seasons, any position, sacks. You're right. You should be able to team filter. Team filter all teams. And I got it. Get results. All right, yep. All right. At any point,
Ndamukong Suh.
does he have fit? You know what? Damn.
71 and a half.
Dude, we should have got. How did we not get Ndamukong Suh? That's on us. We should have got that. All right. Great stuff, the Immaculate Grid. Let's catch our break. We'll tell you about Tipico. We got time up. The NFL is buzzing right now. T. Higgins wants out. We'll see some more things coming up with the Browns. Talk more Jerry Jeudy. All comes your way next. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, let's jump in a little bit of time hop. We'll tell you what happened on a very happy 3/11 day. Of course, I had to wear it a little bit today. We'll rock it out, see what we got in time hop. I'm sad, Boom, because you remember time hop from way back in the day, of course. I've got no movies for you today. I have one TV show that you can guess on coming up in a little bit. So get to time hop. We've got more news out of the NFL. Kirk Cousins, supposedly, allegedly, he's going to be talking to the Atlanta Falcons coming up in about an hour. So again, we're about an hour and 20 minutes away from the legal tampering period to open up. Browns have already traded for Jerry Jeudy. Russ is in Pittsburgh. We got a lot to talk about, but let's run through time hop quickly and see what we got. This day, 2022, a report out. The Browns were serious players to acquire Amari Cooper. And lo and behold, that would come true. What a trade. I know they couldn't pay him there. What a snag. I feel like semi the same about Jerry Jeudy. This is an impossible question, Bone, but I'll ask. Which is the better trade? It's got to be Amari Cooper, right? Not Jerry. We haven't seen Jerry Jeudy play. What do we know, right?
Yeah, I'm going to say Amari right now, but I mean, Jeudy, you have to anticipate that he's going to be a massive impact.
Yeah.
For Amari, for this Browns team, for Deshaun Watson, for that offense. Like, I'm stoked.
Well, we're not stoked this day, 2020. It started. President Trump announced a travel ban, and the World Health Organization officially recognized COVID as a pandemic this day, 2020. I don't know if I told the story here, though. Boom, I was in Vegas for 3/11 day. The final night of the show, the world shut down before our eyes, and we are thousands of miles. Me and my four brothers, we're all in Vegas, first time for a lot of us, and we're thousands of miles away from home. And we didn't know how our flight's going to get canceled. They played the last night of the show, and they came out and like, yeah, we really shouldn't be here right now, but whatever. We watched the Pac-12 basketball tournament get canceled across the street from our hotel. Gobert tested positive or said whatever he said a few days prior. Literally watched the world. I'll never forget this. So we go to the concert, and we were flying home the next day. We got in our Uber to go to the plane. And the guy, we're just, making small talk. And the guy goes, I've lived in Vegas my whole life. He goes, I've never seen it this dead other than the day after 9/11. Wow. And he goes, there was nobody there. The mass exodus of people. Boom. It was a Saturday night. We were playing $5 tables on a Saturday night in Vegas because there was no one there. It was scary. And, dude, here we are 4 years later. Doesn't it seem like it was a decade ago?
For real.
4 years ago when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Scary time, certainly. We went through it. And I think about that too, Bohm, of like, that was kind of our generation. I mean, our generation's been through a lot, like every generation has. But like, there's going to be a time in 30 years we're sitting there they're like, what was living through the pandemic like? And we're like, everything was shut down. You couldn't go to bars, couldn't go to restaurants.
Yeah, that was one of those where were you when moments that
right.
everyone will always remember. I was supposed to do play-by-play for the MAC basketball tournament.
That's right.
I was dressed in a suit, ready to go.
Cancel the tournament. Yeah. Everybody go home. Yeah. Everybody go home.
All started surreal.
4 years ago today. This day, 2019, Terrell Suggs told the Ravens that he would be leaving the team. I sent a tweet out about this 4 or 5 years ago. Who is the biggest Browns nemesis of all time? Like Roethlisberger, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, but I thought Terrell Suggs is somewhere on that list, man. He
totally
terrorized the Browns. Oh, my God. He was all over it.
Antonio Brown.
There was an era, and I know he went off the rails.
On Spencer Landing's face.
But there was a time, Bohm, that he was unguardable. Yeah. He was truly the best receiver in football.
We're talking about a guy who played when Megatron was in the league.
I know, and it was different, too. You got a shorter guy here, but, I mean, Antonio Brown was it. And I think he probably will go to the Hall of Fame. Like, he's a Hall of Fame level player, without a doubt. All this other stuff that's going on. We'll have to figure it out. Browns signed Dante Whitner 10 years ago today. Dude, 10 years.
Former Buckeye.
Oh, my God, those uniforms. You remember that with Heartline? That was the Heartline. Dante Whitner. They signed all those guys in free agency to turn it around. I was excited about that. This day, 1986, the NFL adopted the instant replay. This day, 86. They still don't have it right. I don't think they still. Dude, what is that? Coming up on 40 years? That can't be right. 86? Yeah. 40 years in 2 years.
Now, when you say instant replay, you mean like reviews?
Yeah, like you
Okay.
can go review this play and things like that.
Challenge flag?
The challenge flag, this day 86.
Wow. I didn't know when it started.
This day 1892 is the first ever first public basketball game held in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Was Naismith involved?
I'm assuming he was. Peach. The funny thing about the basketball in Naismith with the peach baskets, they didn't cut the bottom out of the baskets for like 4 years. It took them 4 years, something like that. It took them 4 years to realize, what if we just cut a hole in the bottom of the basket?
A lot less stoppage.
Yeah, a lot less stoppage. Very happy birthday goes out to former Indians pitcher Steve Reed, side armor. Man, I love Steve Reed.
The old submarine.
Anthony Davis, who celebrated last night by doing a historic thing. His stat line had never been done in the NBA before. What was it? Points, rebounds, blocks, assists, or something like that?
I didn't see his stat line.
Yeah, so hang on. Let me see if I can find this. Because his parents surprised him with a cake after. Here it is. Anthony Davis last night put up a historic stat line. 27 points, 25 rebounds, 7 steals, 5 assists, and 3 blocks had never been done in the NBA before.
The
Probably
closest
on the
we've
7
ever come,
steals.
Matt, to a quintuple double.
We had to have had one at some
There's been
point.
quadruple doubles.
Oh, a quintuple. You're right. Quintuple. He would have needed, 7 more blocks and 5. That'd be something crazy. Have Caitlin Clark. I'm sure Caitlin Clark could do that. What a weekend, too, for college basketball on the women's side of things.
How about that fight?
Dude, that fight. Dude, again, and I hope that it lines up this way. I'm assuming that I really hope the top 4 seeds are LSU, South Carolina, Ohio State, and Iowa. Get them on the opposite side, and you get them here to Cleveland. What would that mean of all of that? And then you put LSU and South Carolina on the one side, Ohio State and Iowa on the other. Woo! Woo! We need that bad here for this town. Rupert Murdoch, Johnny Knoxville, Terrence Howard, Paul Wall, good time, and Joel Madden of Good Charlotte fame, all celebrating birthdays today. One TV show for you today. This day, 1989, it debuted. I don't think it's still running in its current incarnation, but there's several different offshoots of this television show.
Cartoon or live action?
Live action. And live action from the standpoint of it was live and out in the field, man. They were out there doing this.
Ooh. So is it like the detective show?
No, but you're on the semi-right page if you said detective.
Does it involve like the law authorities?
Yes, very much so.
Not Law and Order.
No.
CSI or
No, you're not getting colder a little bit now.
Oh.
Go back to you're talking about law enforcement.
It doesn't deal with court, like being in court.
Not really, no. Law enforcement. Cops is correct. You didn't want me singing Bad Boys, Bad Boys. What you gotta do?
Been that giveaway.
Cops.
I can't believe I got that.
A lot of sick days sitting at home from school. You watch Judge Judy and Cops all day. I just think of Step Brother when he goes, "Where y'all sweating?" I was watching Cops. And I know the Cops doesn't come on until 4. Yes, Cops this day, 19. The clip that always gets me is when that lady called the cops because she was there to buy drugs and the drug dealer took her money and wouldn't give her crack, and she called the cops. And the one cop showed up, he goes, "Wait a minute." He goes, "You were buying crack from your drug dealer. She stiffed you and you called the police."
Now, could she be arrested for that?
I think
Probably
they
not.
did. I don't remember how it all played out, but that's one that I remember was
Real quick,
Cops.
My one of my favorite Cops memories was they found this guy just like loitering, right? And they found a bag with some white chunky substance in it. And it turns out after they tested it that he wasn't lying to them, that he was in fact carrying salt in a plastic bag because he likes to season his McDonald's French fries.
All right. Well, again, as long as it's not
Why he was loitering, that was still TBD.
Yeah, well, yeah. You just got to have it on you, man. Got to keep strapped on the salt. Good times on that. Chase McLaughlin re-signed a 3-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're just re-signing all the former Cleveland Browns there. Great stuff on Time Hop. We'll announce our bracket. Let's do the bracket. I already sent the tweet out. We need South Side bars. So we're doing a 5-week bracket. Each week is a different part of town. East Side done. We're going to do South Side. We're going to do downtown. And the West Side coming up in a couple of weeks. When I mean South Side, I mean Berea. I mean Strongsville, Brunswick, that kind of area is what we're looking for. So I already sent the tweet out. I already got Front Street Social Club in Berea. I'm all over Berea.
I play open mics at Front Street.
Do you really? There you go.
Fun
All right.
spot, really chill spot.
Can I ask, where is it? Like, it's not Mike's Bar and Grill, right? Mike's is still there.
No, gosh, I'm trying to remember the exact street it's on. It's been a couple months since I've been there.
Because, like, I went to BW, so, like, Mike's Bar and Grill, the Oriole Cafe, which is great. I didn't know Front Street Social was there when I was there. Is it over by the Giant Eagle?
It's right across the street from a Papa John's. I know that.
Oh, okay. I know where that is. Yeah, I know where that is. It's like in the square, right?
Yeah, it is right near the square.
Yeah, that's it. I know where it is.
It is, in fact, on Front Street.
Okay, there it is. Well, so I figured, but I wasn't there when I was at BW, so there you go.
It's a real cool spot. They do it up nice. It looks like a real venue.
All right, so I love it. So we need all your bars coming up over the next 24 hours. We're going to do the bracket tomorrow for Southside, so we'll get a lot of that. Really, at this point, just these final moves are coming in. So again, Chase McLaughlin is re-signed. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The biggest news coming out this morning is Kirk Cousins. So the reports are that he is going to go through the full process of free agency, and Diana Rossini saying in an hour he's going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. So I think if I'm guessing here, Bohm, I think Kirk Cousins knows his fallback will be, I will go back to Minnesota if I need to, but let's see what else is out there. Let's see if somebody else is going to overpay, and let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't see too many other jobs for him. Am I missing that? Like, I don't think he's going to go back to Washington, right? They need a quarterback.
That would be a hell of a reunion.
That'd be fun. The Raiders, sneakily, I don't think they're all in on Aiden O'Connell, so they need a quarterback.
Would the Saints move on from Carr?
That money, though, I don't know, because they signed him to a 4-year deal.
I mean, after what we saw the Broncos do.
Yeah, I'd have to look at his contract.
$80 million dead cap.
It just really seems like it's Minnesota or Atlanta for him. And then Minnesota, we heard they could be interested in Trey Lance. Could they draft a guy? I mean, here's what you know. At this point, there seem to be 4 bona fide number 1 first-round picks. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and everybody's drinking the J.J. McCarthy Kool-Aid right now.
Yuck.
I'm with you on that. I think I'd take Penix over him. I would.
Agreed.
But
maybe
there's a Michigan, Ohio State bias there. I admit that. That's fine. But with those guys coming in, and how many jobs are still available at this point, what the hell is Kirk Cousins going to do? Where's he going to go? I really think it's Atlanta or Minnesota. So again, I think it's smart for him to start with Atlanta. But Boom, we've been doing this a long time. There's a giant curveball coming. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know who, but we know that there's going to be some giant. We've had that how many years in a row now? Watson wanted out, then Russell Wilson wanted out, then Aaron Rodgers wanted. It's been every offseason, there's been a massive quarterback move. And maybe would Kirk Cousins suffice as that? He'd be close. I don't think he'd be on the level of what happened with Watson, Wilson, or Aaron Rodgers. But that's what I'm saying is every offseason, it's just been about some big quarterback on the move and then some potential curveball on where they're going to go or what team is going to show up. Something about the Raiders. I don't know why. I think the Raiders are not getting any conversation run in this. Like, I know they like Aiden O'Connell. They can't run it back with him.
No chance.
No. Yeah. They just can't. What if they emerge as a dark horse in this?
You know where they sit in the draft?
I don't. Good call. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to do something.
Well, the interesting thing about Cousins, you just got to sign him, which would be nice. Yep. But you're talking about draft. They have the 13th overall pick. So they should
be Drake May range, maybe, but borderline.
Well, yeah, I would think McCarthy, too.
Yeah.
So, again, Chicago won. Caleb Williams. Washington will take maybe Jaden Daniels, too. Maybe Drake May.
Yeah,
then New England.
Kind of a...
Well, New England, they're up on the, what do you do with that? Do you draft a quarterback? You just draft Marvin Harrison Jr. You played out with Jacoby Brissett.
Man, I'm kind of hoping Marv doesn't go to, I want to see him, thrive.
Well, Arizona's 4. He ain't getting past that, I don't think. Chargers at 5. Do you buy this? And I'm not crapping on Malik Neighbors, but these people that are all of a sudden, they take Malik Neighbors over Marv. Did you watch Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I think it's got to be
crazy
they're in the offseason, the bias.
Everybody's getting crazy there. The Giants, what do they want to do? What are they going to do with Danny Dimes? Mike Tannenbaum smoking. So, you trade him to Deshaun Watson. Okay. All right. Atlanta is at 8. So they might, I don't know about Malik Neighbors, I don't know if he'd fall there, but he'd be maybe in that position. A lot of what I see is top 3 go quarterbacks, and then Arizona at 4 goes Marvin Harrison, and then Malik Neighbors goes 5 to the Chargers. I've seen a lot of that. Joe Alt, that lineman from Notre Dame, he's kind of in that mix somewhere there too. But we'll see. It's starting to get crazy. We got an hour to go until legal tampering. I appreciate everybody. Boom. It was so great to see you, man. I appreciate you so much coming in to fill in. Ryan's under the weather. He'll hopefully maybe be back tomorrow. If not, boom, I don't know what you're doing tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But if Ryan's under the weather still, we'll rock it again. 9 to 11 tomorrow. We'll see what happens with the Browns coming up later today. You got the Big Play Cleveland show. You've got Blake and Greg Williams. You've got Hanford. You got it all tonight on Big Play. And you got a bracket as well. That's Southside Bar. Send your responses in at Matt Fontana 83 at Matt Fontana Show. That's it for us. We got to fly. For Michael Bohm, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, happy 311 day. Take it easy.